أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. Amma ba'd, assalamu alaikum and welcome to Future Stars on Hidayat TV. I'm your host Hassan Shah, and today we are just talking about Ashura and the events around Karbala. So before I'd like to continue, I'd like to introduce my guests.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Misbah.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Mohsin.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Ali Hassan.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Hussain.
And thank you for that introduction. So the thing that we are talking about today is what, Ali Hassan?
Anything about Muharram.
Yeah, anything about Muharram, Karbala, the things surrounding the events of what happened on the 10th of Muharram. Yeah, and we're going to be talking about these important events, and also why, most importantly, why was this sacrifice taken, and why was it important at that time and also in our time as well. So just before we actually start with the thing that we're going to talk about, which Miss was going to start off with, I'm just going to go through the events of what actually occurred going up to the 10th of Muharram. Yeah, so actually the 2nd of Muharram was actually when the camp of Imam Hussain was stopped and stopped by Hur, and it was stopped in the place of Karbala. And on the 3rd, another army came, commanded by Umar ibn Sa'd. He arrived with his army unit of Yazid's army. Yeah. And then more army units arrived, and on the 7th, do any of you know what happened on the 7th? Really important day on the 7th. What is one of the most important, crucial things that we learn about what happened to Imam Hussain and his family? His what? What do you drink every day that you need? Water. What happened to the water?
Oh, they blocked them.
They blocked the water off. So on the 7th, Ubaidullah ordered the cut off of the water supply to Imam Hussein's camp. Yeah, so they blocked off the water from going to the side of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Yeah, and then on the same day, in between the 7th and the 9th, yeah, Shimr arrives. Do any of you know who that is?
Is he like the commander of Yazid?
No. Ubaidullah, Umar ibn Sa'd was actually the commander of the whole army, but Shimr was who was he the person to do to Imam Hussain? End up doing the finally killing Imam Hussain. Yeah, and then on the 9th, actually, the fighting starts on the 9th. But what happens? What happens?
Is it like Hazrat Abbas got cuts off?
No. You think about the 10th there. But the 9th, the fighting started on the 9th, but what happens? It was postponed. So the assault started, but it was stopped because the Imam asked for one last day. Yeah, and he asked for this one last day. And so on the 9th, he talks to his army, and this is where he says, "Oh, that you're free of me now." Yeah, that they were allowed to leave the Imam. Yeah, and then because no one left, he actually turned off. He actually blew the candle out. Yeah, and still, but by at the end of relighting it again, did anyone go away?
No.
No, they all stayed with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Yeah, and then on the Friday the 10th of Muharram, yeah, so at the dawn, so Fajr, obviously they did the Fajr prayer. So remember, even in these tough hardship, they still remember to do what? Salah. They still remember to pray. Yeah. And then in the early morning, the Imam did a speech to Yazid's army. Yeah, and actually Umar ibn Sa'ad shoots the first arrow and begins the battle. Yeah, and by noon, afternoon, yeah, around that time is actually where Imam Hussein and is actually finally passed away. He is finally killed. So that gives us a kind of basis of what happened from the 2nd of Muharram to actually the 10th, the afternoon on the 10th, and then early evening at that time. That's when the Yazid's army came in. They came and looted the camps of Imam Hussein and took all the women and children as prisoners. Yeah. And so this all happened in this span, and this is the basis of what we need to actually know, isn't it? Yeah. So we're gonna really expand on that today. So Misbah, we're gonna start you off with a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
Meaning of Shahadat and Imam's readiness to die for Islam. Here are some definitions that will help us understand the important points in this lesson. Shahadat, martyrdom or giving one's life for the sake of the holy struggle of Islam. Shahadat has a second meaning, testifying to the truth. For example, when we say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, we testify to the truth that there is no God but Allah. Shaheed, a martyr, or one who gives his or her life for the sake of the holy struggle of Islam. Jihad, struggle in the way of Islam. Islam, aside from being this religion and the way of life for all Muslims, the word Islam in Arabic means submission to Allah. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. So thank you. We've gone over some meanings. Misbah's brought up some meanings. What were some of those words?
Martyr.
Shahadat.
Shahadat, yeah. What does that mean? Shahadat.
Shahadat means
Like somebody's martyred.
Yeah, someone who's martyred, someone who's given their life in the way of who?
Imam Hussein.
Not Imam Hussein.
Allah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah. So anyone who's a shaheed, he has given his life in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even in the Quran, it talks about a person who has given their life away for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as not being dead. When they've actually been killed, Allah actually describes them as not being dead in the Quran. Yeah, and it talks about him still giving them sustenance. Yeah, so the Quran and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about the importance of these people, these martyrs who give their lives for the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, Mosi, you've got the next thing, so we can start Mosi off with Allah salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
One of the titles of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is Sayyid al-Shahada.
Shuhada.
The meaning of the leader of the Shahada, what makes martyrdom such a special concept of Islam, and why is Imam Hussein alayhi salam the leader of all martyrs? Let us explore. Once a human being believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his holy prophet, he becomes a Muslim. By definition, a Muslim is a person who submits to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to do, we must obey him. The basic commandments that whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to do, we must do. through Deen, two important branches of through Deen are listed below. Amar bin Maruf, inviting to good. This means, as a Muslim, whenever you can, you should guide people and tell people what is right and what is good. Give some examples that you can think of where it's important to do Amar bil Maruf.
Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajum. So mostly you mentioned a lot of things there, and the important things that you mentioned there is Amar bil Maruf, and also Nahi anil Munkar, which he talked about. Yeah, he talked more about Amar bil Maruf there. What did he say about Amar bil Maruf?
Like what is right or wrong.
Yeah, so that's right. So Amar bin Maruf is inviting people to what?
To be good.
To be good. Yeah, telling them. It's actually I'm gonna pose a question to you. What would be classed as doing Amar bin Maruf? Any of you can think about. So you're inviting people to do good. Yeah. So any examples of that?
Preaching to them, like telling people what's right.
Like in a classroom, if someone's being naughty, you could tell them that like is wrong and how to actually do
So
better.
that's going into Nahi anil Munkar. So that's telling people to avoid from doing bad things. Yeah. So what you could give an example for Amar bin Maruf is, it's Salah time now. Yeah, come on, let's go and do Fajr. Yeah. So you see, you're telling someone to do a good thing, a good action. Yeah. When you see them maybe not doing that. Yeah. And then Nahi anil Munkar, which we're gonna go into now. Hussein is gonna talk about. So can we start with saying off the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajah.
Nahy anil Munkar, preventing evil. This means that as a Muslim, whenever you can, if you see something evil or bad, you should do whatever you can to stop that evil from happening and to make changes so that it won't happen again. Give some examples that you can think of where it's important to do Nahy anil Munkar.
Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil. So can you give any examples of Nahy anil Munkar?
Like for example, like if they're doing something wrong, like for example, like have you ever heard of the story where Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein taught the old man to do a wudu, but show him in such a way that it would not
Offend him. Yeah. So it's because the old man wasn't doing evil. Yeah, that would I wouldn't say that's Nahy anil Munkar, but it's a good example of learning these aspects of Amar bin Maruf and Nahy anil Munkar. Yeah, so telling people to do good, and telling people not to do what bad things. Yeah, and who is this most shown in? Yeah, who we talking about today that this is really shown in? Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Yeah, because even in the ziyarats, yeah, he's called the enjoiner of these two things, Amar bin Maruf and Nahy anil Munkar. Yeah, so he really did this, and was actually the kind of how do you say it, like a metaphor of it on this world. Yeah, that he did these actions, and he did Amar bin Maruf and Nahy anil Munkar on the battlefield that he was in at that time. Yeah. So, Hussein, if you would like to continue, can we start off with the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
When Imam Hussein alayhi salam refused to accept Yazid as the leader of the Muslims, he was following the commands of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar. If he had accepted Yazid as the leader, the people of that time would not have known that Yazid was an evil person and that things had to change. How evil was Yazid? One historian says Yazid was a pleasure-seeking person. He was a man who kept animals for hunting. He had dogs, monkeys and panthers. He always had parties where people drank wine. How could Yazid become the leader of Muslims when he did not represent Islam? Imam Hussein alayhi salam was a live model of Islam. How could he accept Yazid as the leader of Muslims? To follow the tenets of Islam of guiding people and telling them what's evil, he had to refuse bay'ah. We also need to remember to tell people if they are doing wrong and guide them to the right path whenever we can. Sometimes holding up to the commands of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar will not be easy. In fact, it will be a struggle, and this struggle is called jihad. People will not be happy with us and might get hurt. In the most extreme cases, this struggle will mean that we have to give up our life in the way of Islam, and this is what is called shahadat, or becoming a shaheed, a martyr. This is what Imam Hussein alayhi salam had to do, because his struggle was extremely great, and because many of his own family members and close companions became shaheed with him. He is called the leader of the martyrs. Martyrs are given the highest respect in Islam. The Quran says, "Do not think of those who were killed in the way of Allah as dead. They are alive and they get their sustenance from their Lord." There are many examples from the life of Imam Hussein alayhi salam that tells us he himself knew that he would be killed. In fact, the father, Imam Ali alayhi salam, his grandfather, the Holy Prophet, and all of the prophets before him, till Nabi Adam alayhi salam, knew that he would be killed. Why then did he go to Karbala? The reason is that sometimes death is more important than life, as in the case when one is performing Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar. There are no other way to wake people up in the society than for Imam Hussein alayhi salam to be martyred. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fajr. He mentioned really important points there, didn't he? Yeah, and he's talking about how Imam Hussein did this Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar to change the people of his time. Yeah, we need to do that today. We need to carry on the legacy of Imam Hussein, yeah, and do this so we can change the society that is around us. So Ali Hassan, you've got something for us today. What is it?
Noha.
You got a Noah for us. So he's going to recite that Noah. So can we start him off with one loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Ilfarajhum.
I will come crawling to you, who says, I will come crawling to you, who says, they can cut my arms and my legs, they can take everything that I have. I will come crawling to you, who said, I will come crawling to you, who said, every day it comes sweet inside. I'm so very far from your side. I will give away these eyes just to catch a glimpse of your shrine. If I have to cross the seas and every distance in between, I will come crawling to you, who said, I will come crawling to you, who said, they can cut my arms and my legs, they can take everything that I have. I will come crawling to you, who said, I will come crawling to you, who said, I can tell that I've been saved in the love of my master who says, in this universe there's no pain that can never keep me away. Every instant I come your way, every beat of my heart will say, I will come said, I will come crawling to you, who said they could cut my arms and my legs, they could take everything that I have. I will come crawling to you, who said, I will come crawling to you, who said, if I lose my family and friends, and my life is coming to an end, if I lose my feet and hands, if I can no longer stand, if I stumble 1,000 times, if the journey's 1,000 miles, I will come crawling to you, who said, I will come crawling to you, who said they could cut my arms and my legs, they could take everything that I have. I will come crawling to you, who said, I will come crawling to you, who said, Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجه. Thank you, Ali Hassan, for that recitation of that Noha. So, whatever Imam Hussein did, what did he remember the most? Islam, obviously. But what do we do every day?
Pray.
Pray. He remembered throughout his whole life, even the hardships in Karbala, to pray. And what have we been doing through these shows, Misbah?
We've been doing the book about praying.
About praying. So Misbah's going to carry on with that book. Yeah, so what section are you on now, Misbah?
I'm on the place for prayer.
The place for prayer. So can we start off with a loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjah.
Mommy, come look, Salim's at his bed. Maryam, help me please. I must wash the carpet right away. What are you doing, Mommy? The carpet will get even wetter like that. If I don't wash it, it will remain najis and we cannot pray in it. Salah.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjah. So she's gonna go on to the next section, but first of all, let's talk about this place for prayer. So he what has the baby done?
He's wet the bed.
He's wet the bed, yeah, like other babies. But Ali Hassan, if someone's wet a bed, or because if you can see on the pictures, it's like a carpet where they was lying on, yeah. So why would they need to wash it so quickly?
Because you can't really wash because it's najis.
It's najis, isn't it?
It's not clean.
Yeah, and it's not clean. Maybe that's the carpet that they do salah on. Yeah, so they won't be able to do it on there because the place is najis, and it has to be what is that word beginning with a T?
Tahir.
Tahir. Yeah, your clothes have to be tahir, obviously as well. But the floor that you're praying on, the area that you're praying in must be tahir as well. Yeah, and you obviously must have wuzu on as well. So these three things have to be tahir. What are they? What's the first thing?
Your clothes.
Your clothes.
And the floor has to be tahir, and you have to be facing towards Qibla.
What's the first thing that I said about tahir? You yourself have to be in wuzu and have to be tahir. Yeah. So these three things we need to remember. Yeah, and Misbah is now going on to the next section, so we can start off the loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Why did you put your prayer rug in front of the TV? You cannot pray in any direction you please. You must pray facing the Qibla. What is the Qibla? Qibla means the direction of prayer. All Muslims pray facing the Kaaba in Mecca. The Kaaba is the Qibla of the Muslims. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjah. So Hussein, what was she talking about there?
She was just saying how you can't when you pray you can't face any direction. You have to face Qibla.
Qibla. So where's the Qibla for the Muslims? Ali Hassan?
You can download the Qibla app on your phone and then you can check.
Yeah, so he's given us a tip there that is really important. Instead of, because there's even prayer mats with a compass on them that even show this, show the way which way is the Qibla. But what tip has Ali Hassan given us that we should use our app? Because it's really hard when you're on the streets and then you realize it's namaz time. Oh, I can't get home now. Yeah, we just even if we don't have a sajda guide, you get a tissue paper and you put it on the floor, and then if you have this app, Ali Hassan, yeah, what can you find?
On the
Qibla easily, isn't it? Yeah, so you can quickly find the Qibla and do your salah on time, and that is really important. So it's a really good tip by Ali Hassan. And Mr. what else?
And the Qibla is when we're facing to the Kaaba.
Qibla is obviously when we're facing towards the Kaaba. So these are really important things. So what sections have we gone through so far in your book, Misra?
It was from the adhan to the wudu, and then from clean clothes to prayer to covering for prayer, then the place for prayer and Qibla.
Yeah, so these remember these, yeah? So do all of you know azan? Yeah? All what's the other thing? Wuzu, all of you should know wuzu, yeah? So we need to remember all these things, yeah, because when we finish this book, we're gonna go through this and I'm gonna quiz you on this book, yeah? So make sure you know every aspect of this book. So thank you. So can we finish the show with a loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil. And just one last thing, yeah? When the Imam, which Imam? Imam Hussein alayhi salam, yeah? When the Imam, he used to go out on this, the 2nd to the 10th of Muharram. He went out every day preaching Islam to the army of Yazid, yeah? They did, he always used to do salah and then go out and actually preach Islam and talk to them and tell them, and even go further and tell them what they're doing is wrong. He used to do that every single time. And on the other side, what would they do? They would not listen. They would not listen. They would ignore him. They would even, I heard one narration talking about, they would beat the war drums, and they would make a lot of noise, so it would go over the sound of Imam Hussein's voice, yeah, when he was preaching to them. And then he said really one important line, yeah, and he said, whatever I say to you, I'm paraphrasing this obviously, whatever I say to you, it will not stay with you, stay in your head. It will just go out, go in one ear, come out the other. And then he said why. He said the reason why is this going, why is this not, why are you not listening to this? Do you know the reason why they wasn't listening to it? The Imam told us that they wasn't listening to him because in their stomach is haram. In their stomach is what? Haram. So because they wasn't, so look at the impact of haram things. Not only because their stomach is haram, what their actions were doing was haram. What they're looking at was haram. What they're listening to was haram. All these things they did was haram. So every day when we read salawat, the end bit we say what? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. What are we doing there? We're calling the Imam back. We're telling the Imam, we read dua faraj, yeah? Allahumma qul waliyikul hujjat ibn al-Hasan. Yeah, we're calling the Imam towards us, aren't we? But if we are doing haram and the Imam comes to us and he will talk to us, will we listen to him?
No.
So we need to remember this and remember the story of Imam Hussein, because this has got to do with today as well. He mentioned that really important line, yeah? If we've got haram inside of us, inside our stomach, inside our head, what we're listening to, what we're talking about, what we're looking at, all these things, that if the Imam comes back and he invites us and tells us to follow him, would we listen to him?
No.
So we got to remember, we need to remove these haram from our life so we can be fully pure and ready for the Imam. Yeah? So can we have a loud salawat in honor of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fadl. Second in honor of our Holy First Imam, Imam Ali alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fadl. Third in honor of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fadl. And fourth with our loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asri wal Zaman. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fadl. Thank you guys for talking, and I hope you here have learnt a lot, and I hope people at home as well have learnt a lot as well. So I hope we to see you next week, same time, same place on Hidayat TV. But until then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.